Good morning. Welcome to Ask the Expert, an award-winning daily series from 8:30 a.m. till 9 a.m. to help small businesses. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments of the live feed. If you need any more advice, join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook. Accountants and business experts are on hand 24/7. During the live session, we'll be running a poll, so please do engage with it and I'll reveal the results at the end. Hi, I'm Cameron Shearer. I'm CEO and founder of Superscript. As CEO, I drive the future vision of Superscript, working closely with our board and investors to ensure sustainable growth for our business. A bit of background on me. I started out as a developer. I worked over a really broad range of sectors from education, advertising, and technology. You can probably hear my Australian accent. I've worked both in Australia and here in Europe and in the UK. Throughout my career, I've really kept tech super close to my heart, and it's kind of played into every job I have, even as a CEO today. Why the hell did I start Superscript in the insurance sector, moving over from all those different sectors? Basically experiencing firsthand that insurance was broken, trying to get insurance in digital agencies that I worked for before, it was quite difficult. So that's the catalyst that started the whole journey for me. What is Superscript? Superscript, we deliver insurance for small businesses. We really focus on affordability, flexibility, personalization, and we put it all together to deliver that as a monthly subscription. We offer a broad range of comprehensive covers tailored to a broad range of segments. I'll just quickly run through a few key milestones, considering this is all about scaling businesses. So one of the big things that we got through last year was evolution from digital risk, which is what we were originally called, to Superscript. And this was as much a kind of a tactical move as we were moving more away from the kind of the digital market that we started to launch the business with into some broadening sectors. We started moving into like hospitality, health and media, and these kind of different spaces. And so the digital risk name just didn't suit us anymore. But it was actually a really nice process to go through, because it started to help us really redefine our purpose. We were able to work with more of the team that we had in place, use data to really drive what it is that we wanted from Superscript in the future, what our new vision could be. I would highly recommend this process, even if you are not changing your brand name or your colors or anything like that, to constantly revisit why you were doing this, why you were getting involved in entrepreneurship is a really rewarding process. Another kind of key milestone, which is something that I knew absolutely nothing about when I started the business, was around fundraising. I remember really early on when we decided that we needed to do some fundraising. I put a pitch deck together and then just went out and sort of plastered it out to a whole range of different VCs. And very quickly into the process, they went, "You're way too early stage for us." And then I discovered angel investors and that whole process. And over the past 5 years, I've gone from raising 100,000 in a fundraise with some angels up to raising $6.5 million last year through our Series A raise, which is just kind of mind-boggling in hindsight to think about how we've gotten there. Another kind of key milestone in the context of scaling is really about how we scaled our headcount through the pandemic. Tough time for everybody. We actually scaled our headcount, our staff, by about 3 times. Actually, I think we started in February with about 25 people, and then we're about 75 at the moment now. So, a big tip there is, if you're hiring people remotely, really lean into the process and make sure that you get a lot of exposure to these candidates right across the business. So I guess some tips for growing business, for growing businesses before we sort of look at some questions, is focusing around the foundations of a business, I think, are really something that helped us scale. So, as an insurance business, I mean, our sector is rife with legacy systems and processes and policies and all that sort of stuff. And I think early on, it's really easy to get caught up in, trying to put an employment contract together or a process together. My tip is really around picking the right moment for your business to put these processes and things in place. Often you can kind of get caught up in things that aren't actually really contributing to today's value and really driving the business forward. That said, you can make really smart decisions early on. So, picking good accounting systems like QuickBooks, small plug there, and other kind of good tech platforms. I mean, there's just so much available for you to kind of shortcut that journey really early on and lay some good foundation, certainly around HR systems and kind of tech if you're operating online. I mean, there's so much good tech out there to really help you get through. One of the biggest topics so close to my heart is culture and team. People are everything to your business. And when I think about how we've scaled our team, all the cliches are totally true. First of all, you have to take that leap. I mean, it's very difficult to move from one or two people and then make your first hire, but you really have to just go for it. You have to, it often feels like a high risk move. It's kind of like when you start the business as well, you might be starting and you have another job on the side, and it's kind of hard to let go of that security blanket. You just have to have the confidence to really dive in and take that first leap. Another key cliche is good people cost money. So certainly if you're picking a high-paced scaling operation, you need to hire really good people, and they do cost money. So having good people around you really supports everything that everything that you need to do from a scaling perspective. And of course, hire people that are better than you, which is absolutely what I do. I surround myself with people that are much more knowledgeable than me, and they really will make the business great. As a founder and a CEO, I obviously started doing everything, the tech stuff, the marketing stuff, admin, finance, all that sort of, all those tasks. And effectively, my role over the last couple of years is really working myself out of a job. How can I pull apart those biggest elements of what I'm working on and dish them out to somebody else and get somebody in to fill those gaps? And of course, one of the biggest takeaways from this, I was thinking about this morning, is really you have to be in a great place yourself as a founder. Certainly if you're trying to direct and drive a team, you have to be healthy, you have to be mentally in the right space. I find if I have a down day, it really starts to you start to see the impact not only in your productivity and your work, but how it can affect the wider team. So making sure that you're right there. Meditation really works for me. Going to the gym, getting out and getting myself away from work is equally as important. And finally, I guess making sure that from a tech business perspective, and I know not everybody here is probably doing a tech business, but it probably applies to other parts. Always make sure and challenge that you are adding value to your business. I remember being in businesses before where we went, we're going to build a proprietary CRM system, or we're going to build this bit of tech. It's not core. If it's not core to what you're doing, then you're probably not adding value, and it's not really going to drive the kind of growth that you're looking for. So, and this is something that we in our business as well constantly come back and challenge ourselves on. What are we building? Is it actually adding value to our proposition and to our customers as well? And then, of course, it's a shameless plug as an insurance business, but it is really, really important that you get your liabilities covered. as a business. So certainly as you start to get your employers' liability is important. If you are a tech business, or if you are a professional firm that you're providing advice and services to your clients, professional indemnity is really, really important there. Yeah, get your insurance in place as well as you scale. That's my intro, and that's I've got some questions coming through. Let me just read through this. Give me one sec. Oh, a question from Tahir on Facebook Messenger. I'm currently shopping around for insurance for my small business, and there are a lot of different terms that confuse me. What should it always include, and what additionally should I be considering? Great question. It is very confusing. I mean, it's one of the reasons that we started Superscript, and being a non-insurance guy coming into an insurance world, it was really about going, how can we start to break down this jargon? It is actually a journey that we're going on as well, because there's quite a big supply chain that you're dealing with. Yeah, I mean, depending on your business, if you have employees, making sure that you've got employers' liability is actually a legal requirement. Public liability is often something that a lot of your kind of wider network will ask for. So if you're in a co-working space, for example, public liability is often a requirement of their contract. This covers you for things like if you damage public property, or if somebody from the public is injured, public liability will cover you for that sort of stuff. And like I said before, if you're providing professional advice or services, and there's a risk that a customer could sue you for financial loss based on bad advice, that's why you would start to look into professional indemnity insurance. If you operate online, cyber insurance is important. It protects you against data breaches and a range of different things. If you've got a big management team, key person protects your key people in your business. Directors and officers will protect you from as an individual from litigation from your board if you do the wrong thing as a founder, for example. So yes, I hope that answers your question. Jada from Twitter. When do you know you've tipped the scale, so to speak, and should shift your business model to something larger? God, I tackle this question every day. I think there is this, investors often talk about finding the right product market fit. I think it probably becomes quite obvious at some point that you're getting the volumes that you expect through, and you're getting the right kind of feedback from your customers as well. I mean, that's a really important part in terms of assessing where you are, is making sure you're getting that real qualitative feedback from your customers and your network, so you're kind of not just in your own bubble thinking, yeah, people are buying it, and they could be buying it for a different reason than what you think. So once you know that you've kind of got that that product market fit, then it becomes really about pushing harder on the things that are working. For us, we depending on the different channels, when we launched our partnership channel, for example, we obviously had to get our partnership proposition right, and so we tested that out on a few different partners, and once you kind of feel like you've got it right, and you just kind of get some more resource in and start really pushing it out there. Tilly on Instagram. Hi, Tilly. I'm entering a market with a lot of similar products. How do we develop our products USP and really sell it in our messaging? Yeah, I mean, it's part of this. Maybe I mean it's a bit broad because it's hard to when you don't have the context of a sector. Um, but a lot of this for me probably first starts with really identifying the purpose. Why are you doing this as an individual, as a business, and define some sort of principles that you kind of want to base everything on. You know, your brand, your culture, your proposition, and that might help unlock some of those sort of underlying drivers personally for the business. And then I guess, you know, you really have to look at the competition, find out what's going on, and then really do a lot of customer research, quite frankly, try and really establish what are the customer pain points that aren't being served, and what potential solutions can your proposition offer those customers. Sometimes you might go and I guess you have to be real with yourself. If there isn't a strong enough USP and you don't think you can win in that space, then you might need to change it up. But yeah, I don't really feel like I've answered that particularly well. But yeah, customer insights. Try and be as data driven as possible. And then in terms of selling it in your messaging, yeah, I mean, this is again another evolving thing, and certainly at volume, when you have a lot of traffic coming through, like your website, for example, or your social media channels, or even out of home if you do sort of above the line kind of advertising. It's an evolving thing. I don't think it's just you set your USPs up there and you leave them. I think you've got to constantly test. If you've got enough volume through a website, for example, you can test different landing pages, see what kind of gets cut through, and where certain things seem to be sticking. So. Wasab from Facebook. Now that we're out of lockdown, sales at my business are booming. That said, we need more if we're going to fully recover and get to a point where we can grow. Any advice for rapidly boosting revenue? I think if somebody had this answer, then they'd be very rich. Hard work. I think it is hard work to recover, certainly from what we've just gone through over the last 18 months now. Look, yeah, this is all going to come down to the context of your business. Unfortunately, if you've got capital, for us, we are in a very privileged position where we have cash to inject into the likes of paid campaigns. So those kind of paid search, paid social, these type of channels are easy to turn on and turn off relatively quick. So you can kind of match your spend to your performance and iterate through that quite quickly. So for us, that's kind of where we get sort of extra boosts in value. It comes at a cost, so it depends again on your model and what exactly it is that you're trying to achieve. So you might be able to boost revenue, but there's obviously going to be a cost associated with that. Yeah, I guess just trying to get out there and market your messages without more context is probably the best advice I can give you. So, Alistair, what's your biggest regret as a founder, and what's the lesson you learned from it? Oh, my biggest regret. Not really a regret, but I always think that if I started a business again, or the next business that I start, I definitely would be fundraising earlier. I also say this with the caveat that not every business should fundraise. It all depends on what you want to achieve, the ambition, the stress you want to put yourself under as well. But for us, that kind of fast growth model was important. So I think doing it again, I think it took us a bit longer than I would have liked to get where we are today. But the other side of that is that sometimes you have to go through it before you can work out what you want to do next time. The benefit of hindsight, obviously. Yeah, I think. Yeah, maybe. God, I don't really think it's a big regret either, but I guess on the same sort of lessons learned, getting more senior people in earlier definitely could have got us where we are faster, and probably listening more to our customers really early on. So taking a lot more of that feedback from customers to really refine our proposition, refine our model. And yeah, just again, it's about getting there faster for me. So Glenn on Facebook, I started a side hustle during lockdown as a one-man band, and it really took off. I'm doing it all myself, but I think I need to expand. How do I build a team and start to scale? What costs should I be aware of? I think this is how so many businesses start, as a side hustle. We actually did a whole piece on side hustles, I think at the end of last year, for exactly this reason. We were seeing that a lot of people were buying insurance because they started a side hustle. So it might have been sort of home crafts and starting to be PT or virtually, of course, and these sort of things. And then, yeah, I think we're starting to see a lot of them become not your side hustle, but your main hustle. What do you need to expand? Well, again, to my point earlier, you kind of need to, first of all, work out when you're going to take that leap. Don't let it drag out. Pick a date. Be quite bold about that. When you're building a team, take your time to make sure that you get absolutely the right person for your business. See enough candidates that you can kind of start to benchmark, what it is that you need. I always find with some of those earlier hires, depending, of course, on what it is, but some of those earlier hires, you might have a bit of a plan for something, but then somebody will come along which will help kind of guide the way that the business starts to develop. So, and I always think that's such a nice thing, because you're already getting instant value from this person that will potentially join your team. So, really, really focus on hiring exactly the right kind of person that's going to help you grow the business. They have to be ambitious. In this kind of environment, you can't have somebody that's just kind of there for the 9 to 5. You won't find that kind of person is attracted to these types of early stage businesses typically anyway. So you want somebody with the right ambition. Costs, obviously, salaries, there's kind of the hidden stuff that sits behind people costs, which are, make sure you can pay them pensions and you've got tax and all that sort of stuff. There's a lot of content available, like templates and employment contracts and all that sort of stuff that is really great just to kickstart the business. Of course, don't just take a template and don't read it and use it as your first employment contract. Make sure you go through it and it suits your business. And if it doesn't, you can find another one or get a little bit of help to modify it for you. But those things aren't... There's a lot of stuff that you can do for low to no cost on your own in establishing that. Obviously, if you need a location, you need to think about tech gear, giving people what they need to operate, whether it's tools or a van or whatever the operational costs are there. And again, make sure you kind of have some of those infrastructure helpers, like accounting platform, systems, you know, in the grand scheme of things, are very affordable, and they really just take a lot of the kind of the grunt work out of what was traditionally quite a paper-heavy process. So, yeah, try and find some of those shortcut tools that I spoke of before. Yeah. Lily on Instagram. Any advice expanding into new markets, looking at how I can scale my own company beyond the UK, and would be interested to hear any advice that you have. We're doing exactly the same thing at the moment. We are working on how we're going to scale into Europe. So I can't give you advice having done it already, Lily. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you can do. The phases that we kind of focus on first are like the desktop research phase. So, you know, really trying to get in and understand the market that you're moving into. Yeah, the desktop research will kind of give you you know, the distribution opportunities that are available, you know, any competitors are obviously a really good place to start, really understanding the competitive market over there. Having obviously a proposition to start with in the UK, it's nice to see how that will measure up over there. There are a lot of cultural differences, even in our closest neighbours, and it's something that's equally exciting to go through as much as you know, you really need to rely on some support to understand and navigate that. As simple as the way that people are employed, for example, in the Netherlands, just little nuances that we've been not coming to terms with, but sort of you know, exploring. People just have a different way of working. Often contracts are operating in different ways. Pensions operate differently over there. So some of those admin things are good to really understand as well. But yeah, understand the competitive market, the opportunity that exists over there, and yeah, don't underestimate how difficult it will be either to get started. There will always be plan for things that you can't plan for as much as possible. How are we going for time? Okay, the poll results are in. Before I do that, actually, I think I've got time. I'm going to do one last question from Oliver on YouTube. What advice would you give to businesses looking for early stage funding? Get your pitch right. Absolutely. I think the fundraising process is really important for a business, even if you don't want to do fundraising, because what it makes you, what it forces you to do is really articulate what it is that you're trying to do as a business. Sometimes it's easy to just run a business with everything in your head and go, okay, I kind of know where we're going and I know where you know, what I want to achieve. But putting that down on paper and building your narrative, and then actually being forced to kind of map out things like, you know, a financial plan, a strategic plan, all that sort of stuff. Really, it gets it out of your head. It makes it really real on paper. And then the next most important thing is, if you can't sell it to anybody, then you really need to take a double look at what's going on and why don't people kind of believe in that. And it might be as simple as, you know, just doing a really small fundraise with family and friends or angel investors, and really go in and pitch. And that will give them also the opportunity to kind of pull bits and pieces apart and say, have you thought about this? And that challenge as an entrepreneur is super, super important there. And then in terms of the actual funding process, I mean, you know, if you're talking about quite small stages, small rounds at very early stage, you're kind of looking at angel investment. There are a lot of communities now that are established where angel investors just kind of go and get their deal flow. If you're in like a real, it depends the sector that you're in, but you might find sort of communities that focus on really specific segments. Yeah, you just get out there and and sell the business. You also make sure that you really know what value you're going to deliver for the investor as well. So again, it's quite easy to sort of go, oh, this is what I want to do, and I just need the cash to do it. And investors investing for a return. So you need to make sure that it makes sense for them to invest as well. So a very early stage investor is often looking for quite high multiples, because they'll have a portfolio of opportunities. So they might look for at least a 10, 20, sometimes even 50 times return on the capital that they put into your business over quite a number of years. So you want to make sure that you're putting a proposition together that makes that worthwhile for them. Great. I hope that answered some of your questions there. As I said, the poll results are in. We asked you, what's the biggest current challenge to scaling your business? Distribution, supply, capital, or talent? 10% said distribution. No one said supply, 30% capital, and 60% talent. Talent is our biggest challenge right now. It's bizarre that, certainly in the tech space, I mean, everybody's looking for developers. It's out of control. You just need to work it. You need to not have too many compromises, and just plan for the process is going to take a while. So good luck, everybody, and thank you all for tuning in. And that's the end of the show. If you want to find out more about Superscript, check out our website at gosuperscript.com. Coming up on Ask the Expert tomorrow is Aaron Patrick, an accountant and QuickBooks Pro advisor. Tune in to get advice on accounting and the latest features and tools that'll make your bookkeeping easier. I really enjoyed answering your questions this morning, and have a great day.